Hey Cafe crew, it's Colin Smith here from PhotoshopCAFE.com. And right now, Happy New Year, it's 2019, and what I'm going to do is go through my favorite tech that's come out in the last year. Now, some of these have been given to me, and I'll let you know the ones that have been given, and other ones I've bought myself. Now, this is not just gear that was given and sponsored, this is a completely non-sponsored post. In fact, there was stuff that was given to me that's just sitting somewhere gathering dust that I'm not using. There's stuff that I've bought that's gathering dust that I'm not using. So the gear I'm going to talk about is the stuff that I actually use every day in my real work. So why don't we just start right now with the drone of the year. And right now I give the drone of the year to the Mavic Pro 2. Let's open this puppy up. Okay, so the Mavic Pro 2. This is the drone I've been waiting for a long time. And what I love about this is it has the portability of the Mavic Pro, but the power of the Phantom 4 Pro. So one of the things I loved about the Phantom 4 Pro was the great crisp photographs and video that you could get. However, it was big and cumbersome. When I say big and cumbersome, it's still small compared to my Inspire. But, it's just a little bit more difficult to move around. Whereas the Mavic Pro came out, and it's nice and small, takes about the space of a lens. But the original Mavic Pro was okay as far as the camera, but now it's amazing. And what we've got now is the Hasselblad camera on here. And we're shooting beautiful stills and incredibly sharp, crisp video. The other thing that makes me award this one the drone of the year is the camera. The color on here, the color science is the best I've ever seen from DJI. In fact, I always kind of felt like the browns and the yellows kind of looked a little weird, but here the warm tones are looking incredibly beautiful. The other thing is it's got fantastic range, good battery life, 30 minutes, and it's small, folds up, and because of this thing takes up about the space of a lens in a camera bag, and of course it's got the small remote just like the other Mavic Pro. I'm going to go very soon to Hawaii. I'm going to take this with me, and I'm going to shoot lots of things. Now, I purchased this one with my own money. It wasn't given to me by DJI, and you can also check out my reviews. In fact, I've got reviews for most of these things in the links underneath, and also just go back to PhotoshopCAFE.com. I'll give you a link there where I got a page where I've listed all these things with links where you can look at the reviews and also where you can go to purchase them if you want them. Okay, the next big item is the camera of the year. 2018 was the battleground for mirrorless. Canon came in with their new offering, Nikon came in, and they weren't necessarily, celebrated with, coming into the city and throwing streamers and banners. In fact, the Canon one got some pretty scathing reviews, which I'm not sure they're really justified. I have a feeling the camera is actually a lot better than what is being stated. One of the things about Canon is their specs versus what you actually see. Sometimes the specs can look weak, but the image quality can actually surpass the specs. However, having said that, the camera of the year for me, the mirrorless camera, and this thing is so good, I'm giving it camera of the year, is the Sony Alpha 7 III, or the A7 III as it's known as. This camera here nicely balances between photography and video. This thing's got great photos, it's got a great dynamic range where it can capture a lot of highlights and shadows at the same time. Shoots very fast. In fact, the drive on this thing is so fast, it's like a machine gun when you're shooting. I love the pictures I can get on it. And for the first time in a mirrorless camera, this actually feels good in the hand. I felt up to this point there was too much on the touchscreen. You weren't able to have enough knobs to do the things you wanted. And also they felt like toys and I was just kind of gripping them with my fingertips. This is a good solid camera. It's got some weight behind it. Thanks to the new battery, which is larger than the other one, about twice the battery capacity as the A7 II, which is why I never got an A7 II. This feels good in the hand. It's got good battery life. But then when it comes to video, this thing really shines. It shoots 4K video, nice and crisp. It uses the full sensor. And by the way, this is a full frame sensor. It's not a crop sensor, so it uses the entire frame. It doesn't crop the lens. The other thing I love about it is I can do 120 frames per second at 1080. And one of the interesting things about this is when it's shooting high speed or at 120, it actually records audio, which is really cool because you can get some really nice slow down audio effects, such as a drone taking off and it's whoop, 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 whoop. And yeah, I'm going to have a lot of fun, and I have been having a lot of fun with this camera. In fact, I was recently in Hawaii, and I've got a vlog that I shot with this, and I'll be posting that in the next month or so whenever I get around to editing it. Now, if you don't have the Sony lenses, I'm actually using a Metabones 5 adapter. It's quite expensive. It's around $450 or around thereabouts. But I can use all of my Canon lenses, and they all work, autofocus. Everything works on there perfectly, with the exception of my very long, my 400mm lens. I have to manually focus that, but everything works well. Now, as far as this camera, it works really great. The one thing I wish it had for vlogging is it has an articulating screen. It comes out, but the screen will not flip around, which if they'd done that, it would just be so huge for a vlogging camera, because when I switched to the 77D as my main vlogging camera a while back, being able to have that flip out screen was just game-changing when it came to shooting vlogs. However, the added resolution, the beautiful crisp frames in here, and also the wonderful low light, I'm now using this one as my main travel and main vlogging camera. GoPro Hero 7. Now, I had a Hero 4 Black Edition. I skipped the 5, I skipped the 6 because I just didn't really see any reason to upgrade. I mean, there was some, some nice features on there, but nothing that was important enough for me to go out and buy a new GoPro. But when the 7 came out, the stabilization on this thing is amazing. It's almost like it's on a gimbal, even though it's not. Also, the audio quality has been improved in here, and this was definitely worth me to go out and buy a new GoPro 7 Black Edition. Looking forward to using this in vlogging. And the other thing now, it has the built-in screen, touch screen, and also voice control, which has been in the last couple of versions, but as I skipped those, this is all new to me. I'm really happy with this. Good job, GoPro. Speaking of gimbals, I tried out a lot of gimbals this year, and there were some other ones I really enjoyed, but finally, at the end of the day, I'm going to give it to the DJI Ronin S. Now, there's a few reasons I want to give it to this. One is the design. When you touch this thing, it feels really well made. It doesn't feel cheap. It feels solid. But not just that, just the engineering, the way things move. There's nothing cheap in here. Everything just feels nice and just really well engineered and really well built, so it's a nice piece of equipment. And then, of course, ergonomically, the notch in here, the thinner handle makes it easy to hold, and it just kind of slots in here, see that? And it just kind of fits on the wrist. And also with this is a removable little tripod. You can use that for extra stabilization, and of course you can pop it open, you can put it down, and this is good when you're doing things like the app has a bunch of different things where I can do panoramas, I can do motion time lapses where it'll move the camera from one place to the other. You can do automated, just use it as a little camera robot as well. But the big thing about it is while you're moving around, doing this thing handheld, you've got beautiful 3-axis stabilization. Now, one of the other things I love about this is on the back. See how it's tilted down? I can see the screen on the back of the camera, which means I don't necessarily have to mount an external monitor on there. I really like that. And the other thing too, it has the heaviest payload of class for a single-handed gimbal, where I've been told it can hold up to a Canon C200. And later on, I'll do a video and we'll see if we can fly a Canon C200 on there. All right, so why don't we move on to phones. Now, this is something that I've always been a huge iPhone user. I've been an iPhone user since day one. And when the iPhone 10 came out, not the X, it's pronounced 10S or 10, not the X or the XS. Just like OS 10 rather than OS X. But anyway, so the iPhone, I loved it when it came edge-to-edge screen, which means they could shrink down that huge phone into something that fits in one hand again, that you can reach the buttons with the same size screen. So with the increased AI bionic processor in here and the 2 lenses, it uses that for true depth perception and can create incredible photos where you can adjust the depth of field afterwards, kind of like you would with a Litro camera. But the photos on this thing are just really good. Nice phone. So of course I would that, but I give it a tie. There's a newcomer here, and this is the Google Pixel 3. Now this was given to me But man, I love this thing. I never thought I would find another phone that would allow me to leave the Apple ecosystem if I wanted to do that. But Android's come a long way since I last used it. Very impressed with it. But this Pixel 3, the camera on this thing is great. It's as good, if not better, than the one on the iPhone. I'm actually going to do a test. I haven't done a shootout between the two yet, but I will do that and compare the photographs. And it's got night mode where it can shoot in almost pitch black, which is incredible. The other thing I like about it has the thumbprint on the back, so you don't have to do the Face ID. You can still use the fingerprint. And also the screen is very bright and very saturated. In fact, the screen on here is a little bit nicer than the iPhone XS, in my opinion. It's about the same size and about the same screen real estate as the iPhone X. So this is definitely a great phone. Love it. Use it all the time. Software really quick. Now, it's not going to come as any surprise to you guys that I'm going to say software of the year, Photoshop. Of course it is. We all love Photoshop. There's other competitors out there, but none of them are Photoshop. It's the industry standard for a reason. I know some people don't like the subscription model, and that's one of the things that has been pushing some people away. But as far as just a feature set, stability, speed, all the things it can do, there's nothing really that comes close to Photoshop. No, not Affinity Photo. You know, they're copying Photoshop in my opinion in some areas, but no, it's nowhere near as good as Photoshop. And the other one is if you're a photographer and you're working with photographs, I love Lightroom Classic. Lightroom Classic CC, it's got some great new features in here. It's a great way of working on a lot of photos. You can manage all your photos in one place, and you can make all your adjustments and output them. The new iPad Pro, this is it here from Apple. It's great. This is done the same thing as the iPhone has. I never got the large 12-inch one because it was too big, so I had the 10.5 for the Pro. But now I've got this in about the same size, maybe slightly bigger than my 10.5, but I've got this nice big screen because it goes all the way to the edge. The Apple Pencil has been enhanced. It doesn't have an end that gets lost anymore because I know all my other ones are missing the ends. So it's just one piece, and also it has double tap technology, so now we can switch between pens and erasers. It's a nice drawing experience. It comes with a keyboard, which has a real keyboard on here. So I really do like this. One thing, criticism is they removed the headphone jack. Why? I really don't see any reason to remove the headphone jack on here. You know what? A headphone jack doesn't take up any space. That could have been left in there. I've definitely, in fact, that was one of the things that slowed me down from buying it. And the reason for that is because when I travel on an airplane, I want to have a set of headphones that I can plug into the entertainment center. I recently did a flight and I wanted to watch a movie and I had my AirPods. The AirPods would not plug into the seat on the airplane, so I couldn't watch the movie. I had to wear the chintzy headphones that they gave me on the airplane, which you could barely understand the speech, and the music was just something like a bumblebee flying around inside your head, which is hideous. And in fact, I went to a kiosk and ended up dropping $100 on a pair of wired headphones so I could watch my movies. So I would like to be able to take my Bose noise cancelling headphones and plug them into here, and also be able to plug them in and watch movies. But they didn't do that, so it's kind of forced me to go out and buy some new headphones, which are coming soon. So I've got the new wireless Bose ones, which also have a cord. So that will solve that problem, but Apple could have just left the headphone jack in there and, saved me all that effort. And my favorite mobile software right now is Lightroom CC, formerly known as Lightroom Mobile. It's a fully featured application, has all the adjustments. It doesn't feel like just an app that does one thing. You can do all your editing of your photos, your sorting. You can do all the things almost that you can do on the desktop version, but it will sync with your desktop so you can have the same photos on the go. And this year, Photoshop is going to be coming out on the mobile, and you can be sure I'm going to be covering that. And I've got a question for you guys. Do you want me to do any tutorials on Lightroom Mobile and Photoshop Mobile, when it comes out? If you do, drop a comment underneath and let me know. I'll be happy to start adding those. If you're not interested, just, it's fine. Why don't we move on to big boy computing, and let's talk about computers, laptops. Okay, so if you've watched any of my videos, you know I absolutely scathed the 2016 MacBook Pro. Check out that video underneath if you want. Over 500,000 people have looked at it. There's a lot of reasons I didn't like it. So 2017 MacBook Pro was better, But now I have the 2018 MacBook Pro, and I'm giving this a laptop of the year. Okay, hold on, hold on. A lot of people are going to be like, why? Dude, you hated it. It hasn't changed. Well, here's the thing. It has. It looks the same. It looks very much the same inside and out. In fact, it's identical. But there's been some enhancements. Some of the earlier issues I had with battery life and these things have been fixed with firmware updates. It's still got the huge trackpad, but palm rejection works much better. I'm not having blocks of text move around anymore. But one of the things that held me back was the processors. It was still on the old generation, but now this one has the i9 processor. And also the big thing about it is now I have 32 gigs of RAM. I was not happy with 16. Now, understand that RAM does not make your computer run faster. What it does is enable you to have multiple applications open at the same time. So if you're not using a lot of memory intensive programs, you don't need the 32 gigs of RAM. However, where I do video editing, where I might have Photoshop and I might have Premiere Pro open at the same time, and I might want to pop open After Effects to do a quick animation. And at that point there, I need that extra RAM so I can have the different applications open at the same time. And also when I'm previewing the video, it does RAM preview. So when I'm testing it, it loads it into RAM and then plays it back at real time. So I do have a need for that RAM. So the 32 gigs is working quite nicely. So some of those other things I didn't like on here was the keypad. The keyboard was probably one of the things I hated the most about this particular MacBook Pro. Why don't I pop it open here, show you here. So they went to the butterfly keys in 2016. And if you click them, they were really like click, 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 like those tinny little, I don't know, guys, seen those little toys that kids used to have, you know, back in the day, and they were like a little piece of metal, and you'd go click, 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 like little ladybugs and stuff. Maybe you've seen those, and it sounded like a little clicky toy. So it was just really, really annoying. And if you're using a 2016 MacBook Pro, maybe you could get like some kind of a cover over the keyboards or whatever. Because if you're in Starbucks and you're doing that, people are looking at you. It's kind of like, you know, when you're using the iPhone and you have audio turned on, click, 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 click. Almost sounded that bad, not quite. But anyway, so the keys, I hated them. The 2017, they slightly improved the keys, moved to the Butterfly 2, was a little bit better. And in here, in the 3, they just, this is the 3rd edition, by the way, the 2018, they did just enough changes in that keyboard, just to give it a little sponginess and got rid of that clickiness. It's a very, very small thing, but for me, it's a difference between being able to comfortably type and not being able to comfortably type. Now, the other thing about it, you know, is 1 terabyte and built-in SSD, which is what I bought. And you know what? This has got great speed. It's got the robustness of a MacBook Pro. These things last for years. It's got a beautiful bright display, great audio. This is a good laptop. I really like it. Now, of course, you know, we come back to the, you know, the USB-C / Thunderbolt 3 slots. Guys, it's 2019. This is pretty much standard now. So we can stop complaining about that. However, if you do have old things, there's another product I want to give you, and that is the dongle of the year, even though it's actually a couple of years old now. But this is the Hyperdrive by Hyper. And I actually was one of the original backers of this when it was still on Kickstarter. Now, I used the other one was a Saatchi, and the Saatchi one looks like this, but is a piece of junk because it just had one slot here. It was very flimsy. In fact, I put a micro SD card in there. It fried the card. It was cheap. This is solid. It uses 2 ports, so it gives you not only the power, but it also gives you the stability of using the 2 ports. Plus, it has 2 on the front, so you don't lose anything. One of them's powered, one of them's USB-C. On the end here, it has HDMI. So this is great for presentations. I used to have to carry all kinds of dongles for that. And by the way, if you're doing presentations, speaking of conferences and stuff, carrying dongles is nothing new. We've always had to do that to connect, you know, because some people have different types of connectors on the projectors. That's not new. We've always carried a dongle. So that works really well. Also supports audio. Plus it's got 2 USB 3 slots on there and an SD and a micro SD card reader. This thing is the only dongle you need. When it comes to pen tablets, I've seen there's been some new pen tablets coming out from different brands. There's been a lot of, you know, like the pens interaction, you know, with Microsoft Surfaces and all these types of things. Best input device for me and the best pen tablet is still Wacom. Always has been. Wacom are the ones that invented this technology, and these are the guys that still have it with no battery in the pen. I believe these are the only ones that do it that way. So all the technology is in here, interacts with this, and it's a good pen. It's comfortable. This is the Pro Pen 2 now. Over 8,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. But the thing about these is they're just so accurate. There's no lag. It feels nice. And where this excels, where all the other ones I've tried fail, is when you go light. When you use a light touch, a lot of them start to turn into dotted lines. I know the Microsoft Studio does that at I forget the amount, but it was somewhere, I think it was around about 18 to 20% of pressure, because I actually tested it in Photoshop. It starts to create that dotted line. Whereas here, you can just very, very gently move this, because all those extra levels of pressure sensitivity are built into the first few ounces of pressure. So that means you can shade just like you would with a pencil. And in fact, this thing feels very much like a pencil. It's industry standard for a reason. I like the medium size because it's about the same size as my MacBook Pro. So I can travel with it very easily. It works with a cable. It also works wirelessly. It uses USB-C on both ends. And it has built-in Bluetooth, so I can connect, has great range. And also, you know, we've got the different touch strips and touch rings here, so we can access different functionality on our computers when we're using it. So love that, and also check out my review on it. Of course, they got the newly designed base here, which is a lower profile, metal on the back. Also, the tablet itself has metal on the back. If you want to get into the extra nibs, just open it like this, and all your nibs are here inside. Very clever. If you want to print from a computer, my favorite printer is the Epson P800. Now, I like the P800 because it prints 17 inches wide, borderless. So you can use, 17 by 22 paper, and it's just beautiful. It has a lot of different inks in there, and it also has photo and black ink on board, so photo and matte ink on board, so it can switch those out for different types of media without having to change the inks or open the boxes. And also it supports the canvas rolls and different types of roll paper up to 17 inches wide and feet long. I've always loved the prints from that. Very crisp, very sharp details, deep saturated blacks. It doesn't have bronzing on it. You can notice that on some printers where the inks tend to bronze or look shiny in certain areas. And also the gradients are incredibly smooth, so I love that printer. Guys, here I want to recommend this one here. This is the X-Rite Color Monkey display. So you just flip this open, and you use the weight on the back. You can measure your screen, calibrate your screen, and then when you're finished, you just flip it back over like this, keep it plugged in, monitors ambient light, and keeps your screen accurate all the time. Now, when you're shooting, one of the things you want to do is use a card. But there's a new card that's come out, and I really love this. This thing is big. This is the X-Rite Color Checker XL. XL for extra large. Okay, so this thing is huge. So why do I want something as huge as this? Well, here's the thing. If I'm using a 360 camera or I'm using a drone, this really large color checker enables me to get a shot of photo or video in there, and then I can match my camera. So if I'm vlogging and I'm using a drone, I can match the colors from my drone to my camera to my 360 camera, and I can shoot it from the air using this. So it's going to give me a little bit more, what the light is really doing rather than just hand holding it on the ground. Now, the other thing, I use it in the studio here. I set it up there. I get a shot on my camera, and I can get a perfect white balance, black balance, gray balance. And then if you look at it here, you can see it's got the different chips here. This is great for video. We've got pure white, we've got grays, we've got a reflective black, so you can get a pure black on there, because with the reflective area, you can get true blacks in there. And there's, of course, a matte black in the corner. We've got skin tones, we've got gray tones, we've got primaries down the bottom there. And so you can use this to get perfect color every time. And if you're doing any kind of vlogging, you're going to need a microphone. And what you want to do is make sure you have some kind of a shotgun mic, because what this does is it makes the audio directional. So if you have people standing in front of you, maybe at a conference or trade show where it's noisy, it's picking up the voices wherever you point this, and it's kind of blocking or filtering out the stuff going behind you, so you can actually hear someone talking in a noisy room. So, this will work on my Sony camera. It'll work on my Canon camera. You just kind of slide it onto the hot shoe here. And then this will just plug into the microphone slot. What I'm going to give it the 2 is the Rode Video Mic Pro Plus. This is a new one that came out. You can see the controls on the back, and that's what kind of distinguishes this. The big thing about this mic, what I love about it, is when I turn the camera on, the mic turns on. When I turn the camera off, the mic turns off. Doesn't seem like a big deal, right? But when you're turning cameras on and gimbals on, sometimes you forget to turn on the mic. I've done interviews and the mic wasn't on. I didn't record anything. You don't want to be recording through that little hole in the camera and call that a microphone. And then the other thing is, sometimes you forget to turn it off. The battery goes dead because it's just sitting there running and you forgot to turn it off. So this will go on and off. Huge. That in itself is enough for me to want to use this mic over all others. But the other thing that's really smart about this is if the internal battery does go dead, you can just pop it open and just put 2 AA batteries in there and boom, you're back in business. These guys really thought of everything. This has great audio quality, and this is as close to a perfect microphone as you will find for vlogging, which is I think you'll find most vloggers are using this mic now. But there's one other addition you want, and that's a dead cat. Put it on. You'll love that scraping noise. Let's put that down. Nothing like the sound of a Sony a7 III scraping against the top of a 2018 MacBook Pro. Only nerds say things like that. But of course, let's get this turned around here. And okay, so there we go. There's our dead cat. And what that does is it just blocks the sound. You know when you hear audio, or maybe that I don't know. What this does is it's a windsock basically, or a wind filter, and it just works really well where you're in the breeze and stuff like that, or you're moving, you're running with the camera, and you're not getting that audio. If you don't have this on and you're pointing towards the wind, you're not even going to hear what the people are saying. You're just going to hear this. So no cats were harmed in the making of those. It's artificial fur. It's just a name. Portable hard drive. I'm actually awarding this to the LaCie DJI Copilot for a couple of reasons. One, this is a rugged drive, so it can take falls and things like that. It's 2 terabytes inside. This weather sealed. We can take the little rubber seal off here, and in there you'll notice there's card readers. So we can put a card in here, push the action button here, boom, and this will ingest all the footage off that card and then just put it on the drive. So when you're on location, you can just pop your cards in here, dump your cards onto there without the need of a computer. The other thing that's really great is if you use the Boss app, you can connect here, which it comes with it for free. You can connect to the drive here, and you can see your photos and videos right there on your mobile phone, and even post them on social media. Even RAW files, you can see those. And another great thing about this is it comes with, I think, 2 months of free full Adobe Creative Cloud. All right, so that's the hard drive. Now, when we're talking about a big drive, the one I'm going to recommend here is the G-Raid Shuttle XL. The one that I've been testing has 8 terabytes of internal SSD storage. Obviously, it's a big, huge thing. I'll just show it to you there. And I've got a review on that coming soon. The speed on this thing is so good, it was writing to the RAID through the USB-C faster than it could write to its own internal storage inside of the MacBook Pro. If you're thinking about buying a new MacBook Pro, or you're buying an iMac Pro, before you spend a lot of money on the internal SSDs, I would just buy 1 terabyte and leave it at that, and then get something like the XL RAID, where you've got expandable storage, which is just as fast, if not faster. It's more cost effective, and also you can take the whole unit with you on location. You can plug it in, you can work on it, you can switch out the drives, a lot of things you can do with that. So I would definitely check that out. But obviously there's much more tech devices available. Hey, what about the DJI Osmo Pocket? What about all these other things? Okay, so here's the thing. This review is based on the things that I've used, things that I've tried, that I use and have thoroughly tested. If I've just picked something up like once, I can't give an honest review. I can't give honest feedback on that. So these are the devices that I've used. I know I haven't included any Windows machines because I don't use a Windows laptop. I do have a Windows desktop machine that I use, as well as the Mac Pro. and I love it. But maybe in the future I'll do more with PCs, but right now I don't use a lot of PCs. I don't have a Nikon camera. I've never used a Nikon camera, which is why I'm not telling you the best Nikon camera. If this was not included, it was probably not included because I don't have it and I haven't used it, so I'm not going to give you an opinion. I'm not going to recommend something that I've never used blindly. I will only recommend those products that I've used and I enjoy enough to continually use. But anyway, if there's any categories that you think I should include in the future, such as tripods or whatever, drop a comment underneath and let me know what categories you'd like to see included in my tech roundups. Now, and 2019 is now here, so I've got a lot more tech reviews coming this year. I don't do them as often as I do Photoshop and Lightroom tutorials. Obviously, I do those every single week, but I do the occasional tech review. If you guys are interested in those kind of things, consider hitting that subscribe button right now, become part of the Cafe crew, hit that little bell so you're in the notification squad, and then you'll know whenever I upload a new video, and then you can check it out. And I appreciate all the comments, and particularly thumbs up. Give me those likes, guys. Smash that like button into dust. And anyway, thanks for watching, guys. And don't forget, check it out on PhotoshopCAFE, where I've linked all these products. Once again, I'll put that link underneath. So thanks for watching. Till next time, I'll see you at the cafe.